Welcome to Beach Theory!
Woohoo!
Episode 4.
Is it episode 4?
We are flying through these episodes.
Well, it's fun to talk to you.
It is fun.
We were just talking about this off camera and off the audio. I was like, it's just enjoyable. Like, time flies when you're having fun, and you're my best friend, and we just have so much fun together, and it's easy to talk to you.
What's most interesting, I think, is these conversations that we're having in the video podcasts is stuff that we literally talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, the only difference is now there's a microphone turned on.
Well, and I feel we have both felt the feeling like this could be helpful to some people who might not know how to communicate very well with each other, like.
Well, we have a good marriage.
We do. And I think from the very, very beginning of our relationship, we always were like, hey, divorce is not an option.
Right.
And we have to be able to communicate through everything.
Well,
this is the most important, other than like picking the right person, right? Like you just have to, we have to be able to talk, even if it like about anything, even if it makes us feel bad or it makes us look bad or whatever.
Right. And so we've learned a lot and we've come a long way, and we feel like we have some value to offer.
Yeah.
To even if it's just our posterity.
Yeah.
To our kids who read the book that will eventually be printed of the stories that we're telling in these recordings.
So last you heard, we were talking about our engagement and getting engaged, and how I waited a whole month to say yes to him, and he was
finally got to kiss.
Yes. Well, once we started kissing, it didn't stop.
That's our engagement.
That's pretty much
we
the end.
were engaged for 4 months.
That's it.
That was way too long to be engaged.
So if we were engaged for 4 months, that means by the time I finally said yes to you, it was 3 months after meeting you.
Because from the day that we met to the day we were married was 7 months.
You know, it's only been 7 months, but that's long enough, because I've been wrapped around your finger. He used to play that all the time.
First time we went out. It's a good song. Brad Paisley. Yeah. Love that guy.
That's one of those songs. Another song that we officially named our song when we were engaged was Cake.
Stick shifts and safety belts.
Stick shifts and safety belts. Bucket seats have all got to go when we're driving in the car. It makes my baby seem so far. I need you here with me, not way over in a bucket seat.
I need you to
I'm out of breath.
Here with me.
Not way over in a bucket seat.
That was a good song. Music
you know what? And another one that when we were on our first date, song that he skipped was Ticks by Brad Paisley. Check you for Ticks.
I didn't want to embarrass her.
I think he liked that song a lot, but he did not want me to know that yet.
If you didn't know already, I love country music.
Yes.
It speaks to my soul. And a lot of them are very romantic songs, and I won her heart with some of the good music that we listened together.
What did I win your heart with?
Because she didn't like country music when we first started dating.
Well, back up. The country music I knew was like Johnny Cash from my dad growing up, or like Susie Q. How do you do? Yeah, my name is Sue. How do you do? Like that music, the old twang. Like really annoying kind of music. That is the country music that I heard. And then Michael introduced me to like Brad Paisley and all these new songs that I was like,
which is basically rock and roll, honestly.
With the country
music is like rock and roll.
Yeah, twang to it. But anyways.
But they sing about like family and love and all like the things.
Your dog and your whiskey in your truck.
Poker and rodeo. Honestly, it just speaks to my soul. I love country music, and I don't care what anybody else
I think
thinks.
Michael's down to earth, and he sees that as being down to earth.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. It's fun.
But I also like alternative rock, and I like classical music,
yes.
And sometimes I listen to Mexican music on the radio.
I know he does, and it always shocks me. I don't know why, but it just catches me off guard every time.
When I was a teenager, I had like maybe 20 music, CDs. Of Thai music.
That's right.
And I'd listen to it and I had no idea what they're saying, but I like the music. And so I think I'm very culturally diverse in my music tastes.
That's true. It is true.
Thank you.
So back to our engagement. That was something we learned about each other, what kind of music we liked. And our wedding, we didn't have a lot of money.
Wait,
I think.
Are you skipping to the wedding already?
No, like our engagement has a lot to do with getting
Wedding
prepared
prep?
for the wedding.
So as soon as we got engaged, then I was like, okay, now I can go get a job. Since
I know that I need to provide.
Well,
it's like before that you were just like, I can mooch. I'm okay.
Until I find the right one. Well, my number one priority was getting married. And as soon as we were engaged, I was like, okay, now I can go get a job, start saving some money so
now I'm going to get serious about life.
Right. And I did. And I got a full-time job.
Yeah, he did.
And soon after we got engaged, actually, my dad and my stepmom, who I was living with in Mount Pleasant, they moved about an hour away.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can't leave.
Because I'm engaged and I don't want to be an hour away, long distance
away.
Relationship when we just barely got engaged.
So I was attending a singles ward, which is a group. A ward is in our church. Basically, it's a congregation of people who get together every Sunday.
Yeah.
And this ward was specific to young single adults. And I was in this young single adult ward, and I was talking. It was actually a branch, which is usually smaller than a ward. And I talked to the branch president and said, "Hey, look, I need a place to stay. I don't want to leave Mount Pleasant.
I'm engaged.
I'm engaged. I want to get married.
I want to stay that way."
Do you have any ideas of maybe where I could stay so that I can continue to date this girl and we can get married soon?
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, I've got a basement bedroom that's not being used. You're welcome to come live with me."
Yeah, come live at our house. And you really didn't live there.
Well,
you spent nights there.
Right.
You slept there. That's it.
That was it. Because as soon as I woke up
there, like it was not even. Yeah, you didn't really live there.
From the moment I woke up every morning, I would go to work in Ephraim, and every lunch break, I would go to Rebecca's apartment, and I would eat my lunch there. Yeah, I had food there. I'd bring it with me, and I'd leave her a note. And oftentimes you would meet me for 15 or 20 minutes.
And we would leave each other love notes.
And sometimes I'd get there early, and I would make you some food, or you'd have food ready for me.
Yeah.
And then if you left early, or if I left early,
we were just being sweet to each other.
Yeah.
Taking care of each other already.
I think that as soon as we became engaged, at that point, it was like, we already know we're going to get married. We want to be married. We want to be together all the time.
So let's be together all the time.
So it's like...
I mean, except at night.
Right. And so as soon as it was nighttime, then I'd leave. But we had to instigate a curfew.
We did. We had to. Okay, that being engaged, I believe, was probably one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. It really was so hard because we don't believe in sleeping with each other before we're married.
Right.
And we don't believe in living with each other before we're married. So we had boundaries.
Kissing
and we were like
was the limit. And we did that all the time, but we were always pushing the limit.
Kissing, we were cuddling too. It was tough to resist each other.
Right. That's true. It's still tough to resist. I'm not gonna lie.
And I'm like, I'm pregnant. Hey, we already got a room. We're in a room.
We're on the bed even. How appropriate.
Do you feel awkward, Cody?
Oh, that's hilarious. So, disclaimer, this episode may contain details of a little bit more of an intimate nature, but not
PG-13. This is not a PG episode. So if you're a kid, please tune out.
But honestly,
ask your mom to listen with you, and then she can explain some things.
We're not going into that much detail.
Just kidding.
I promise.
Then you can have the talk. Just kidding.
No, we're honestly, I want these to be clean enough that our kids could listen to them without being too uncomfortable.
And we can explain things to them if they have more questions.
And to be perfectly honest, I think that any teenager who's in a dating mindset needs to understand.
We're not going to go into detail. We're not going to be talking about bad stuff, but it's better to hear something in a nice way.
But I think it's educational. I think the way that we did our engagement is good.
Oh, I do too.
I feel like it would help so many people if they followed the same boundaries that we followed, even though it was really difficult.
Okay. And here's the bottom line. We did not have sex before we were married. We did not sleep together or live together before we were married.
That's true.
That was our goal, and it was so difficult to do that.
Right, and that because we both believed that was right.
Yeah.
And in our church, we believe that that's right.
And in our church, in order for us to get to our goal of getting married in the temple, we believe that we can get sealed together for all eternity. And in order to get married in the temple, which is where you get sealed together, we had to obey these strict rules. And it wasn't like
the law of chastity.
Yeah, it's called the law of chastity, and making sure that we're pure and virtuous before we decide to get married.
Right.
And so we did. We were very, very careful, and we had some close calls though. Especially really the closer we got to our wedding day, it was just so difficult to be like, go home.
I just want to be with you all the time.
Or, okay, so we need to stop kissing.
Okay, we're done. All right.
That's it. One more kiss. Okay.
Okay, one more kiss.
Okay, one more.
Okay, one more.
Okay, now we really have to stop.
Yeah, that was the most challenging time. I think that maybe there's a part of me that's tried to block out that phase in our life.
No, I'm serious. When we first started talking about this, I was like, what is there to talk about? It was
a blur.
It's a blur, and we made out a lot. We kissed so much all the time.
Maybe too much.
We probably did, but it was we were so in love, and we just couldn't wait to be married. And
that's why the 4 months engagement is a terrible idea.
Yes, honestly.
It wasn't until later that people said, hey, look, if you're going to get engaged, make it a very short engagement.
Honestly, 4 months in this day and age is short.
I know.
But that's considering people that might lived together previously. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. From that perspective, it might be. But we did have some wedding planning to do, and we wanted to wait for your sister to get off of her mission.
Yes, because she
could be there.
Really interesting. My sister, Jennifer, went on her mission to his home ward.
In Florida.
Well, he went out here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
she met his family and knew all about his family and got the deets about him before
she was
he ever met him.
So all the people that I grew up with in Orlando at church who knew me as a kid, she was asking them as a missionary when she was on her mission.
Hey, trying to get all the dirty details.
So you guys know who Michael Beach is? Yeah, we know him. Okay, he's dating my sister.
What is he
Seriously,
like?
Tell me about him. Do you guys have any dirt? So
juicy details.
Fortunately, I was a good boy. And so they all had nothing but good things to say
for the most part.
Me.
No, just kidding.
No, I was.
He was a good guy.
I was a stalwart young man. And so everybody only had good things to say about me. And so
so Jennifer's like, I guess I approve, even though I've never met him before. But all the information that I've dug up about him says that he's okay.
All the background check. Maybe that's why you like Veronica Mars.
You like Veronica Mars too.
It's a fun show.
Actually, that's another thing that we forgot about. So there were some things leading up to getting married that were just basically tender mercy signs for me that I was doing the right thing. And one of them was a week before we got married, I went out and bought food storage. A year's worth.
No. That wasn't before we got married.
Sorry. A week before we met. Sorry. Did I say married?
Yeah.
A week before we met each other, I went out and bought $300 worth of food storage just for me. And he did too, almost exactly to the day.
So she bought canned food and ketchup
condiments and spices.
All these things that alone wouldn't necessarily constitute food.
No, they did. It was oils and flours and stuff. I got a lot of stuff that I would use up.
Right.
Not bulk foods necessarily, but I got enough that it was a year supply for me of stuff that I would eat.
Without knowing that she had done
without even knowing each other, a week before we met each other.
I went to the church cannery and I bought wheat and rice and beans.
A 1 year supply.
And all these.
Just him.
Yeah.
And after we got to know each other, we realized within the same week we had bought food storage that complemented each other.
I remember coming to your parents' house and seeing all these boxes full of food and thinking, what is all this food? And they're like, oh, Rebecca just bought a year supply of food for herself. And I was like, no way.
I just bought a year supply of food. And it was just one of those moments where it was like, holy cow, if we got married, we would have full meals here.
Yeah. It was cool.
And that was before we were even dating that happened. And it was just that was one of those almost like a sign to me that we're on the same wavelength. We're thinking alike and doing similar things and being prompted by God, we felt like, to do these certain things, and it was just aligning with each other, and that was really, really interesting to me.
I want to talk about planning for the wedding.
Okay.
So this is fun. The cake especially was my favorite.
Yeah.
So Rebecca
we can insert a picture of the cake right here because that's a good one.
Right. So Rebecca and her mom were doing all this wedding planning, getting ready for everything, and talking about the decorations.
I don't know what colors. I like them all. So basically, I used all of the colors at her wedding.
We didn't really. I guess we did.
I had lime green, blue, yellow, and pink. All like pastel color type.
So, but they asked for my input on the cake because they couldn't seem to make their mind up about anything.
No, you were like, okay, I don't really care about anything else. All I care about is the cake. I love cake. And you're like, I want to have a say on the cake, on the design and the flavor.
So my idea for the cake was I wanted it to look like one of those old-fashioned round beehives.
Yeah.
I think it's called a skep hive.
He, at the time, was like, I want to be a beekeeper.
I love beekeeping.
And he had been beekeeping.
I still love beekeeping. In
his teenage years. Like, he was a beekeeper. He was a beekeeper. You've been probably a beekeeper for like 15 years.
15 years at least of experience.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to look like a beehive. I thought that'd look really cool. And I don't even remember why. Like that came to my mind. Because it was
like, what are our favorite things? What do we want our wedding to be like? We didn't really have traditional, like, oh, we want to make it look really fancy or anything. It was like, no, we want our wedding to be like our personalities.
Honestly, I think
what we like.
When I suggested the idea, I think it was more of kind of like a joke. But then
I don't know.
Both your mom and you were like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. We could totally do that. And I was like, okay, cool. And they just ran with it and made it awesome.
Yeah. So we decided to make it like a beehive, and we have a picture of that. And it was really good. And we had 2 different flavors in it because I wanted to pick one flavor. So I picked chocolate with chocolate mousse, and he picked vanilla like cake with like raspberry cream on the inside. It was both of them were amazing. So good.
Best cake ever.
Except after the honeymoon, we got back and nobody had put it in the fridge and it went moldy, and he only got the one tiny bite of that cake that was so delicious that we paid like $200 for. Cried. He was so sad. He loves cake. Very sad.
I'm not even joking. He loves it. It was like devastating to me.
Hey, pause just for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can't pause.
Hello?
We just did.
Becca's on the phone now. Did you pause? No, you can't pause.
We're just gonna keep going.
Okay. Becca,
it could have been an important phone call. It could have been an important phone call.
No,
so
it's
I had
not.
To be careful.
See, here's the thing. I don't want to edit. I don't want to have to edit these.
I'll already do.
It could have been about the secret thing.
Oh, wait, is it time? No, we got like.
It's 18, but so you're not gonna go another 30 minutes, you know?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to edit these videos. I want it to just be like real conversations with Michael and Rebecca.
Let's leave it. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
We're still recording.
Everything's still going. So hopefully you guys watching and listening to this don't mind. I think
that's okay. This is our life. Whatever.
It's kind of fun.
You get to experience part of our life for real. Like this.
We'll do our best to not have interruptions.
To us, like vlog, like a replacement for vlogs, because we really loved vlogs. We loved having that journal of our lives, but in so many ways you can't talk about these deep things when you're in the middle of a vlog. Like,
oh, could you imagine a 30-minute vlog where all we do is talk?
No, it's well, that's what we're doing right now, actually. That's literally what we're doing right now.
Well, when you consider the audience, when we're doing vlogs, it's a younger audience,
all sorts
and
of
they don't want to just sit there and listen to old people talk.
Yeah,
like they want they want to see the kids, and they want to see us playing. And
it's true.
So that's what we do. Or if it's a skit, we do skits.
Is this real life? This is real life.
But I think that these podcasts, videos, and audio or recordings are more for the older audience, teenagers, young adults.
Honestly, if little kids want to listen to it, if they're interested enough, then great. Like, I think that's good. These are our life experiences, and they've helped us to get where we are today. Like, it's not
awesome,
not bad stuff. So, anyways,
so
we spent $3,000 on our entire wedding.
Yep. Oh, you won a wedding ring at a bridal fair.
Yes, I went to a bridal fair and I won a wedding ring.
So I was off the hook. I didn't have to
He didn't propose to me. He just was like casually, hey, you want to get married?
I didn't propose, didn't buy a wedding ring. had no money.
See what I mean? He should re-propose, right?
I actually have thought it'd be hilarious. Do you remember when I was telling you we should do like a video series
where we just propose over and over again?
In every episode, we do
lots of people.
We do different
that would be
proposals.
So funny.
Even though it's like we're already married, but like
yes.
I just think it'd be hilarious to do all these fake proposals.
That's what they always do. They always go and cover their mouth because they're like smiling.
You would get so many free desserts.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it at every restaurant we go to eat at.
That just becomes our dating habit. Okay, it's time for the proposal. Maybe a couple times we mix it up and you propose to me.
I would like to see the reaction from people, actually.
And I'm like,
that'd be interesting.
Or like, no, definitely not. They can't all end good. That's too predictable.
Hey, then I have to have something. I say no. People give you free desserts because they feel so bad.
And then you storm out of there and I cry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It'd be good acting practice. So, yeah, you want a free ring? Oh, you got $100 dress from like a thrift store or something?
No. There was a bridal store that went out of business and they just kept their inventory in their basement in their house, like, and sold it on like KSL, which is like Craigslist here in Utah. And so I just I looked online and they were like, yeah, we have a whole bunch of dresses to choose from, all under $100. So I was like, well, okay.
Let's get it.
It
was like a cream color too. It wasn't even white.
It was like ivory or something. But
yeah, that's a good description.
I never felt like, oh, I have to have the perfect expensive wedding dress. Oh, I have to have the perfect ring. Oh, I have to have the perfect proposal. Oh, I have to have the perfect wedding. Like, I wanted to have fun. I wanted it to be me. And me at that time was being thrifty and
those expensive fancy things just didn't really matter.
They really didn't to me. Like,
and they still don't.
Yeah. So
and I think that's awesome. I think that says a lot to your character.
Sometimes I feel like, oh man, I gotta be a little more classy. Not so much burping and not caring about what I look like, you know. But then at the same time, I'm like, no.
But the important things do matter to you.
Yes.
And that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you may not care about an expensive wedding dress or a diamond ring, but you do care about integrity and keeping to your values and making sure that you're being worthy, you know.
Honestly, my top priority is like, if I were to strip down all of like why I do what I do, whatever, it would be, I still want to make my own decisions, right? But I want to ask Heavenly Father what He wants me to do. And then I want to do that to the best of my ability because He knows more than I do.
Right.
And I don't know, like, I don't know so much. Like, I just trust Him. And I truly believe that God wants us to be happy. So that's how I live my life, you know, like
what you feel is inspired of God, then you'll be happy.
And sometimes when it comes to etiquette or manners, like if it makes me unhappy and I feel like I'm not good enough because of it, then I just throw it out the window. Like, and it's not completely like, I also care about that. Like, I want to teach our kids etiquette and I want to, you know, like manners and stuff. But I just, when it really comes down to it, if I go to a third world country, like that's the last thing you're going to think about, manners or like homeless people.
It's all about survival.
Yeah. Like there's so much more to life than looking perfect or acting perfect or having these unspoken rules that you have to follow all the time. So like, I guess
you came here for beach theory. This is it.
This is how I feel like about life in general. So if people watch the vlogs, like the old vlogs, they'll see dirty diapers on the ground and they'll see our house a disgusting mess, but I'm in survival mode because I'm pregnant and I'm not caring whether or not somebody on the comments is going to say, hey, you're a disgusting slob. You really need to just...
And you're like, tough, my kids are alive, so that's a win.
Yeah, I'm doing really good and you don't even know. Like, that's how I feel. So I guess I just kind of the same way, like when we were first dating and I wasn't trying to impress you. I'm not trying to impress you guys. And I'm sorry about that because I could probably look a lot better if I tried. But like, I'll dress up if I feel like dressing up. Or I'll put on makeup if I feel like putting on makeup. But I don't care. Like, I'll still show you if I'm not wearing makeup. I'll still show you how imperfect my life is. Like, you're going to see that.
Right. But I think it's good because it's the real you.
Yeah.
What you see is real. Rebecca is
Except for
real.
when we're filming panda videos or stuff like skits, then it's like
the skits are a story. But I think that anyone with, some intelligence would recognize that that's a story. Yeah. Obviously scripted story. But what we're doing right now with the podcast and explaining our life, like, that is who you really are.
Yeah.
You're not hiding. There's no mask. This is real.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people see you and think you're fake. When they see like your perfect life or all the things that you have, they might think that's not real. But that is real.
Yeah.
You really are a good person.
But it's not a perfect life. Like, maybe here's the thing. YouTube is so one-sided. Like, it is so false advertising in a way, because like we will on some videos just make it look like a certain way. Like, it has to look, it's kind of like Instagram perfect, right? Like, you try to make it look a certain way because a certain way gets views and the other way doesn't. So in some ways, YouTube just looks so perfect and our life just looks so perfect, but that is not how it is. Like, by far.
Yeah.
But we do still have like a great time and we have a great life, and like I'm so happy with what we have. Like, it's not like, oh, our life is terrible and we make it look so good. I don't know. There's just moderation in all things, right? Like, is
there anything left in our engagement that we missed?
I'm starting to try to avoid that topic, because really it was just like making out, kissing all the time, and saying, okay, go home quick before we have an accident. Like, before we can't make it to the temple. Like, it was really like that, and it was hard, but we made it, and we did not have sex before we were married, and that was our ultimate goal. And like, there was one thing though. After we got married, I heard that somebody in my ward, I think, said to my sister, or was saying it around my sister, that like my home ward that I grew up in, they said, oh, they didn't wait to have sex before they were, like, they had sex before they were married. And I was like, oh, how dare you? I was so mad about that, because I was like, you have no idea how hard it was to not do that and how much we struggled. And yet still, people will talk or make up rumors or whatever. And that was like, there's not very many things I get mad about, but I got mad about that.
Because that is not true.
And no.
Right.
Because we tried so hard and we worked so hard, and yet that was
and we need the
credit
credit for around. Succeeding and not doing anything that we shouldn't do.
Oh, that was so frustrating. Anyways.
And to me, honestly, it was really challenging because I didn't want to go too far, and because I knew in my mind that if we did,
we wouldn't last.
I don't think that we would have stayed together.
No, I would have been so devastated, I think.
Right. And so, honestly, I kept saying to myself, I want to be with Rebecca forever. And I know that if we go too far now, that's not going to happen.
Not the right time. Like, we have to be married first to be able to do the things we want to do.
I had to say that to myself, because that was the only way to settle down.
I can't tell you how many times we would sit out in the car or be in my room in my dorm and be like, okay, like, breathe, let's not kiss each other, let's not go past any boundaries, and where are our boundaries? Right. Let's make them clear. Like, we
need to set a curfew.
Yep.
I need to go home at a specific
midnight
time or whatever. Can't stay later than that.
Yeah, like, it was so difficult.
But we didn't have
it was just using self-restraint all the time when we were around each other.
There was no chaperound to tell
And aren't you glad we didn't kiss until we got engaged? Otherwise, we probably would have made a mistake.
Right. Well, I'm just glad that we can laugh about it now.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Challenging.
Like, if we would have tried to have this conversation a year after we were engaged, our first year anniversary, whatever. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have been so giddy. It wouldn't have been so laughable. Like, there's been a lot of time in between now and then.
Even now, it's like hard to talk about.
Yeah, like,
it's so challenging.
That was not easy. That was not fun. And it was fun at the same time, but it wasn't fun.
Well, I think I'm ready to talk about the marriage. What do we want to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about the honeymoon, actually.
Are we going to talk about the marriage, like the wedding day?
Yeah.
And the honeymoon?
Yes. So our wedding day / honeymoon is the next
video?
episode.
A whole nother week to the wedding day. Well, just be happy. You guys only have to wait a week. We had to wait 4 months.
Yeah, seriously.
That was the worst 4 months ever.
1 week is nothing. Nothing.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope that you guys learned something from this or got some value from it.
Yeah.
Whether you're...
I don't know if you'll learn anything from it, but at least get some value.
Because I don't know if you guys are listening and maybe you're engaged or maybe you're dating.
Yeah.
Or maybe you haven't yet. But to know that there's value in having those standards. Because,
oh my goodness, yeah.
Like, yes, it was really challenging and really hard, but I'm so grateful that we stuck
why do you
to
think
those
we did
values.
that? We did that because you can't, like, it's kind of like getting milk for free before you buy the cow. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have.
You called yourself a cow.
No, I called you a cow. Just kidding.
How rude.
But you know what I mean? Like, you have to be invested in the relationship.
I think that one of the benefits of waiting is it shows
how much you're committed.
It shows how much you actually love that person. So I think that if we had gone too far, that would have told you two things. One, it would have told you that I don't care about God's laws.
You don't respect me enough because I told you.
Right. I don't respect
what I wanted.
I don't respect the commandments of God that I believe in.
Yeah.
And that you believe in. And number two, I don't respect and love you enough to wait. Yeah. All it does is send a message to you that all I care about is feeling good.
Yep.
And what I want.
Yep.
But by waiting, I showed you that I truly love you.
Yeah.
And I also love God.
And notice how he's saying I. I think he had more of a drive than I did.
What I'm trying to say is that's the message. Because that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
And I know that it's the same for you.
Yeah, it was.
But it's a personal decision.
Yep.
It's a decision I had to make for myself and you had to make for yourself. And that we had to make together.
And we're so glad we did it that way. Like, I would not change a thing except for maybe have more boundaries when we were engaged. That's the only thing I might have done.
Shorter engagement.
You
should have waited longer to say yes.
We should have eloped. That would have been smarter. I'm just saying, a lot harder on ourselves, a lot easier on ourselves.
It's all your fault. All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Make sure to follow us on
Beach Theory.
You can find us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify. We're in all the places podcasts are.
Yes.
And we're here every week with more fun and adventures.
More stories. And if you guys want us to talk about a certain subject, make sure to message us maybe in the comments below on this video.
Either in the
Let
video,
us know subjects you want us to talk about our opinions on.
To give comments in podcasts in Anchor. You can leave us comments.
Okay.
We will see them.
Yes.
Absolutely we'll see them.
And we're really excited for this podcast series because it's our life. It's our journal. Like, we want to...
It's the theories of our life. Speech theory. Signing out.
All right.
Bye.